So in today's video, there's going to be something a little different, as I've seen this be suggested by multiple people over the course of the last couple of years. So here it is. What if NASCAR had used the playoff system in 1992? This video will actually start an entire series of alternative NASCAR history. I have many more ideas for future videos with this series, so stay on the lookout. This is also going to be the first of 4 seasons I have planned to do, as I have 3 late 90s seasons that I'll be covering in the future. Now, a couple of disclaimers. Number one, this is going to not be 100% accurate, as electronic timing and scoring was not in place at the time. This means stage winners will only have their points counted for stage wins at the end of the stages. As this is, as obviously, the current playoff format, at least since 2017, in place, where it's playoff points for wins and a playoff point for the stage win, 5 playoff points for wins, of course. And there's also extra bonus points at the end of the regular season used, and the win and urine system, of course. Number 2, since there were only 29 races in the 1992 season, the first 19 will be regular season races, as last 10 will be playoff races. Another disclaimer I want to get out there is that at the time I'm recording this in September, there's been no current changes in playoff format, but there's a high chance, and there's been many rumors that there could be a change to the current playoff format that there is. So the video, the moment it uploads, could instantly be outdated, as it may not be the current playoff system. But I want to continue this series on, even though it may not be exactly, again, accurate. And finally, there's that old saying that you, me, Jared, every damn body knows they all would race differently. This is all just for fun. With that, let's begin. Davey Allison would be the first driver to lock in a spot in the playoffs with his win in the Daytona 500. He, before getting wins at the first North Wilkesboro, Talladega, and Michigan races. Bill Elliott would go on to win 4 in a row to get his spot in the playoffs at the first Rockingham, Richmond, Atlanta, and Darlington race. Alan Kulwicki would nab his spot in the playoffs with wins at Bristol and Pocono. Martin would win the last ever tape-delayed Cup race ever at Martinsville to punch his spot in the playoffs, and Dale Earnhardt would get his lone win of 1992 in the regular season at the Coca-Cola 600. Harry Gant would win fuel mileage race at Dover, as well as set the all-time record for oldest Cup Series winner at Michigan. Ernie Irvan would punch his ticket with wins at Sonoma, the Firecracker 400 at Daytona, and the second Talladega race. Darrell Waltrip would win a fuel mileage race at the second Pocono race, and last driver to lock in his spot in the playoffs was Kyle Petty, who had won the rain-shortened Watkins Glen race. With 9 different winners, that means there were 7 spots remaining for drivers that were trying to make it in on points. Those drivers were Morgan Shepherd, Sterling Marlin, Terry Labonte, Ricky Rudd, Kenny Schrader, Brett Bodine, and Rusty Wallace. Wallace having one of his roughest seasons of his entire career. With that, the playoff field was set as we headed for the round of 16, which consisted of Bristol, the Southern 500 Darlington, and the second Richmond race. At Bristol, Darrell Waltrip would win and lock in a spot in the round of 12. Those that had strong runs were Dale Earnhardt, Kenny Schrader, Kyle Petty, Alan Kulwicki, and Ricky Rudd. Those that suffered 4 runs, wow.
Oh, and a crash. Ernie Irvan has crashed. He has spun on the backstretch and made contact with the inside pit wall.
And he can't get going until all this traffic goes by. But he is going to say get in lap, but we can't see how much damage there is to the car. He made some contact with the right side. Oh, Davey Allison, points leader, spins up in 3, backs in the wall.
Here's Marlin also spinning.
Some head and contact to the rear of the, it's not the points leader, that's right, he's a second place car.
Nevertheless, he was trying to take over the points lead, and he has
on the inside of the track. Let's see what he does.
He'll let him go, Ned, surely.
And David just went out of the way. No, Brett, I believe Brett Patrick was a little bit coming off that corner.
Yep. Boy, Davey is just having a terrible evening. Now he's shortened the car up on the front end. And a crash out of, Harry Gant has crashed here on the main straightaway.
Let's see.
How about that? Rusty's going to race him back. Harry down on the middle of the racetrack. There's a groove up there. They can race back. Everybody else should slow down.
And And out in turn number 2, Alan Kulwicki and Mark Martin have spun. And watch the back.
It looks like he and was that Ernie Irvin down there in car? No, Michael Waltrip. I believe the yellow car just got together a little bit and sent him spinning around.
Harry is still parked right there. His car hasn't moved. While that was happening, out in turn number 2, this was going on between Kulwicki and Martin.
Betty just
barely got through.
I don't see too much damage to Kulwicki's car.
Well, certainly 2 cars.
Davey Allison, Terry Labonte, Ernie Irvan, and Harry Gant all suffered bad runs. A 13th place finish for Morgan Shepherd and 15th place finish for Sterling Marlin, however, leaves them below the cut line. Well, Terry Labonte is in a borderline must-win situation already, while Mark Martin's DNF has him below the cut line, while Wallace's top 10 has him just above the cut line. At the Southern 500, Darrell Waltrip goes back-to-back after winning this race in a rain-shortened race for what would be his final Cup Series win. Mark Martin, Brett Bodine, Davey Allison, and Bill Elliott would all have strong top 5 runs, while those that suffered were Morgan Shepherd, Dale Earnhardt, Sterling Marlin, and Ernie Irvan. Terry Labonte was pretty much in a must-win situation, while Shepherd and Marlin were in a borderline must-win situation, while Irvan was 13 points below the cut line. The top 6 are well above the cut line heading into the cutoff race at Richmond. Rusty Wallace went on to become the 10th different winner in 1992, as he would win in his favorite chassis, Midnight. Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, and Kenny Schrader would do more than enough to get themselves in the round 12, as the cut line has not changed at all, meaning Shepherd, Marlin, Irvan, and Labonte were all eliminated. The round of 12 consisted of Dover, Martinsville, and the second North Wilkesboro race, of course. At Dover, Ricky Rudd would get a surprise win and become the 11th different winner of 1992, while locking a spot in the round of 8. Bill Elliott, Kyle Petty, Davey Allison, Harry Gant, Terry Labonte, all have great ones. For the others, well...
See the back end of the car coming out right there. It's history from there on. He's along for the ride now. Everybody was able to miss him, and he spun around and starts up towards the wall backwards now.
Bill Elliott just missed him on the low side, so did Sterling Marlin.
Oh boy, he hit hard there. When you hit flat like that, it don't look like it hit that hard, but that car...
Trouble turn 3.
Oh boy.
One car slams the wall, and it's Alan Kulwicki ruining his second car of the weekend in a big way.
He hit it a ton, too. When we saw him, he was already turning around and got into it. Might have hit the driver's door pretty hard.
Elliott.
And now we got a spin on the back straightaway over there. One of them's the 71 car.
That's Sauter on the left side of your screen. There's another car involved.
There's 2 or 3 up down that 8. It's such a steep bank in the back straightaway. Hard to say. There's one. Looks like Schrader's car. Is that his down there?
Yeah. Fields about got to stop to get through. Chad Little.
Wow, look at that.
Waltrip.
Well, I tell you, Darrell's had such a good run here the last few months. And really,
Wallace down under. They have contact there.
That's
he
Brett
gets
Bodine.
To Brett Bodine, and Brett Bodine hits the 4 car.
Brett Bodine was kind of squeezed there in the middle. Maybe we can see that again and get a look on whether perhaps Wallace carried Bodine up, whether he was just up there, or whether Irvin was coming down.
That's what happened. He just went in under him, and there wasn't room there, and the 2 of them made a little contact. He tried to move over, and he caught him.
Also, let's look for Earnhardt. There he is. See what happened to his car. Davey Allison under Earnhardt.
cars coming down off the track.
Okay, it looks like Davey Allison's following Earnhardt.
There's Earnhardt on the bottom.
Yeah,
and
that's
Davey.
what he did. He got into the 2 car right there.
What goes up must come down.
Yep.
Down the banking.
Davey went back up.
Poor runs by Kenny Schrader have them in bad situations, and Alan Kulwicki also is now below the cut line. Mark Martin is now only 3 points above the cut line. At Martinsville, a non-playoff driver in Jeffrey Bodine would win to become the 12th different winner of 1992. Those importantly good runs, though, were Rusty Wallace, Alan Kulwicki, Mark Martin. Dale Earnhardt's engine failure has him in a bit of a hole, while mediocre run by Darrell Waltrip, hurt by also a spin and crash, which has him below the cut line. And even after finishing third, Brett Bodine is still minus 11 below the cut line. At North Wilkesboro, Jeffrey Bodine will win back-to-back races. And overall, nothing much changes. With the playoffs, as the bottom four would stay the same, meaning Earnhardt Sr., Waltrip, Schrader, and Brett Bodine would be eliminated. For the round of 8, the races were Charlotte, Rockingham, and Phoenix. At Charlotte, Mark Martin would pull off a surprise win and lock in a spot in the championship 4. In this race, it becomes very apparent who the haves and have-nots are. While Kyle Petty, Alan Quickie, and Ricky Rudd have fantastic top 5 runs, mechanical issues plague as most of the other playoff field, as both Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott had major mechanical issues doing them in. Heading into Rockingham, Rusty was pretty much in a must-win situation already, and by not winning the next 2 races, is eliminated. Kyle Petty would pull off a shocking win to advance to the Championship 4, meaning one of the big 3 that throughout most of the season, Kawicki, Elliott, and Allison were going to be eliminated. For all the playoff drivers that hadn't won, and 5 of the 6 had finished in the top 12. The worst finishing driver being, of course, Rusty Wallace. What this meant was the points were incredibly close going into Phoenix. At Phoenix, Davey Allison would win in dramatic fashion to lock in a spot into the Championship 4. Bad runs by Elliott and Rudd, as they were fought with mechanical issues, would see them both get eliminated, while Harry Gant's 14th place was not enough for him to make it into the Championship 4. With Kawicki finishing 4th, he makes it to the Championship 4. So the Championship 4 for 1992 is a very unique 4 for sure. You have a kind of underdog in Mark Martin, who really has not been much of a factor throughout the entire year until his Charlotte win. You've got the wild clutch abilities of Kyle Petty, who also, like Martin, may not be exactly been a top contender, has had a career year. The ultra quiet and consistent beloved Alan Kawicki and the Davey Allison, arguably the best driver all year long. The Championship 4 race was held in Atlanta, and on lap 2 there was already incidents happening. However, overall, there wasn't much, however, that plagued the playoff field throughout the early portions, as Allison, of course, as we know, would recover early on. Pretty much everybody would run near each other and all take turns up front for the championship. However, the first of the championship contenders to strike trouble would be on lap 160.
Racetrack, and Mark Martin is slowing here on the main straightaway. Mark's Valvoline Ford is off the pace dramatically, and he has cut off the engine.
May as well, bud.
Blown. Well, it's still running. 4,000 RPMs in 4th gear.
And you can hear the engine running.
He's trying to accelerate, but he'll only turn about 4,400. Jerry, what's the problem?
We're walking along beside Steve Mills. Steve, what's wrong with the car?
Quit running. Fan quit turning over. It popped a little bit of smoke out of the pipes coming in the first turn for a couple laps. And he said it shook real bad up the backstretch and figures it broke a crank or something.
Mark Martin's engine failure would destroy his hopes of a championship, while Kawicki, Allison, and Kyle Petty still would continue racing, although Petty was in trouble since he was now a lap down. However, that would be going on until lap 251, where arguably the biggest turning point in the entire race, season, and championship would happen.
For years here, he has earned more points.
Oh, crash!
Davey Allison is in the crash, Bob.
Ernie Irvin, and it's all over for Davey
No,
Allison.
it's not over yet. I don't think he hit him that hard, maybe.
Well, he hit pretty well, I think.
He's got a lot of damage to the right side of the car.
Ernie Irvin spinning, coming off of corner number 4.
Davey has got his car moving.
Yeah, he's trying to pull away,
But he can't steer it.
but it won't turn.
It won't turn. The right front will not work. Another right front won't work. He's broken the tire rod end off the car, so when they turn the steering wheel, the right front tire won't turn. And there he's a...
With Allison out of the race and out of championship contention, the only contender left was Kyle Petty, who, as they mentioned on the broadcast, had just gotten his lap back. While Petty tried to make a valiant effort, it was for naught, as well, with less than 10 to go.
Is calculating. Kyle Petty is moving very slowly around the racetrack with a smoking engine, and he's been doing that for quite a while.
You know what? When we see Kyle, he's just as low as he can possibly get. He's not in the racing group at all. He doesn't want to ruin this for anyone.
That would mean it's virtually a cakewalk in the last laps for Alan Kulwicki as he takes the white flag in second.
Causing some fire, but Richard is back out on the racetrack. The white flag is out. Now Alan Kulwicki comes down and gets it. There is less than 1 lap to go around this 1.5 mile oval at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are not following the winner, the leader of the race. We are focused in on Alan Kulwicki, who is going to win the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup and the $1 million bonus that goes with it. Bill Elliott comes off the 4th corner. He wins the Hooters 500. But Alan Kulwicki is coming off of corner number 4, knowing that he's winning the championship. There's the checkered flag for Alan. He's the champion for 92.
Incredibly, Alan Kulwicki would still be the 1992 NASCAR Cup Series champion under the playoff format, with one of the greatest consistency runs in NASCAR history. Of the top 10 in points in the real 92 points, 9 of the 10 would finish in the top 10 here in the playoff points, with the only one outside the top 10 being Sterling Marlin in 12th. Rusty Wallace would be the highest non-top 10 driver in the 92 points in the top 10, as Wallace would also have the highest jump in points from 14th to 6th. While Bill Elliott would have the biggest drop-off as he dropped from 2nd in the Winston Cup points to 9th in the playoff format. With all this in mind, though, I want to pass this now on to you and ask you guys, what do you guys think of the 1992 season with the playoff format? Was there interesting stuff that happened, and was it as chaotic as it was, and is it as affected as the real 92 season with the Winston format? Let me know. Anyways, guys, this is Carter Gaming. I'll see you guys next time.